All right, if you can find your way back to your tables, we've got some more things for you to do today. So for those of you who in sessions past have indicated you wanted to have some more interaction and more discussion with each other, be careful what you ask for, because that's what we're giving you, we hope. And so what we have planned for this afternoon is an opportunity for you to have some creative juices flowing and thinking about either solving some problems in your society or thinking about how your society can perhaps be shaped differently. So you've got some forms on your table, and the first choice that you're going to have to make is which task as a table it is that you're going to approach, because you've got two exercises to choose from. The first one would just basically be designing the ideal genealogy/history group. Just free thinking, free forming. You're starting with a fresh sheet of paper. If you could create the perfect organization, the perfect club, the perfect society, what would that be like? How would you do your social media? Would you meet live? Would you meet virtually? What have you? So that's one path that you can take if you choose. So that's one choice you can make. The other one is you can pick 2 or 3 or 4 key areas, issues, problems, things that you most would really like to dive into and discuss as a table and try to come up with some solutions for and record those. And so you've got several of these forms on your table. So as I said, the first thing you need to do is as a table decide which direction you're going to go, the utopian society or key issues. Work through the forms, and again, like we did this morning, have somebody be your scribe and record either 2 or 3 issues and solutions. We want solutions, not just griping, or your ideal perfect society. And then starting at 1:30, we're going to do like we did this morning and ask somebody from each table to come up and brief everybody on what you've come up with for your plans. Kathleen, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, just at your table, you'll have the one form that's loose for each of the 2 exercises, and that's the one we'd like you to turn back in and have a single person keep notes at your table for. In your packet, just sort of FYI, if you want to see it, you'll see these same forms. That's really just for you. You can brainstorm them if you want. In terms of creating a new genealogical club, the actual exercise has 2 pages, and I think there are about 10 different attributes of the club or facets of the club that you can address. So go at it, be as creative as you can. You can spend all your time on one issue if you choose to go that route rather than creating a new club. Or you can do 2 or 3 issues. But what you need to do first is chat amongst yourself, pick a note taker, and decide which exercise you're going to do. And then go at it. And we'll give you a high sign when there's 10 minutes left and 5 minutes left.
Get busy.
It's transitioning right now.
All right, it is 1:30 and time to hear the great, wonderful ideas that you have all come up with. What? What about the light on the screen? Light on the screen. There's plenty of light on the screen. I think you don't need more light on the screen.
We've got till 2 o'clock. We'll fix it, okay?
All eyes on me over here. Pay attention to that man behind the curtain over there. Okay, so since we went reverse numerical, we're going to go alphabetically according to height. So table 1, you're up first.
All right. Can you guys hear me? So we chose the path of identifying some challenges, some problems that we wanted to tackle. We identified 4: getting members, engaging members, finding speakers, and burnout. And you get a table full of genealogists together. We got through 1. So we're going to talk about burnout. You guys know what burnout is? Anybody feel that? Not every hand went up. You guys, that's great. Okay, so for burnout, the objective.
They were too burned out to raise their hand.
That's right. He's skipping steps. We'll talk about that in a minute. So the objective: avoid burnout. Right. Specifically, don't overburden people. Make sure we spread out the work. Empower people to say, "I need help," or "This is too much." And kind of to the point there, recognize when this is happening. So we kind of have those items as the things that we wanted to drive some action on. So we started with committees. Let me ask you a question. How many people make a committee? One. I mean, the reality is most of the time it's a committee of one. And so the comment was just committee, but let's do it for real. Let's really get some people on this so that it's not just one person. Bev had a great example of trying to create thousands of web pages for a particular project they were on by herself, right? Thousands. And we'll talk about by hand. This is back in the front page days, if you ever use that. We'll kind of use that as an example as we go through some of this. But how do you get a committee? How do you really get a committee? This came up, I think, at the panel. It definitely came up in the conversation. You have to ask, right? Email is probably not going to get you a whole lot, right? So you have to really form that relationship and have a conversation to get people to sort of step up and want to do this. Set some limits, short-term committees, long-term committees. Make it specific to the task that you're trying to accomplish and make sure you communicate clearly these are what the expectations are. One other thing on the committee part of it is some accountability. Have some meeting. The committee has to have meetings and report what you've done. And part of that report out would be, do we really have a committee? Is this just falling back onto one or two people? And so that's kind of what the committee part of helping avoid burnout is. We talked about well-defined projects. Really important, right? Really have some crisp objectives for what you're trying to do, and then break that down. Have very detailed tasks. And it kind of goes into that new member conversation a little bit of when somebody new comes in, don't throw 12 things at them, right? Let's have something on the shelf that we can pull down and say, this is a very nice little thing that you can plug into, but also have stuff that somebody with more experience, expert level knowledge, can plug in to that project. And in the perfect world, you could put those two together and say, you've never done this before, you've been doing this for years, let's get you guys talking and make this, make a real connection there. The third piece, recognizing burnout, right? There's some accountability on us as leaders to really be paying attention. Watch for those signs. I'll come back to Beverly. She got about halfway through this large number of website pages she was creating and just stopped, right? It needed a break. Let's take a step back. And certainly that's a point to say, wow, I wonder why we're still on the J's on this website, right? And ask, hey, what's going on? That's one way to figure it out. It's after the fact, right? But before that, really watch for signs. There was a comment, be on the lookout for when this seems no longer fun to the people that are working on this thing, right? The comment was it's a job, it's work, versus I'm passionate about this thing and I really want to do this. Two other points in the recognize piece is ask, right? How are you doing? You've got so much work. Are you good? Yeah, I love it. This is what I love to do. I'm just taking a small break. Great, we go on. Or hopefully you get an answer that says, I need help, or I need to take a break. I'm going to stop and come back to this in a couple of months. And that leads to the last point, which is empowering that behavior, right? We're all volunteers. We do this because we like it, but we should feel okay to say, I need some help, or I need to step back and do something else because I'm not feeling this anymore. Let's transition it or whatever. But empower that behavior to say, it's not going the way we want it to. We need to do something else. Just a quick wrap up on the resources part. This was interesting for burnout. The resources, I think, that are important for this are us, right, as leaders to do the things that we talked about. We also tied into that concept of bite nights. Somebody brought up, doing the restaurant thing. This is another way to sort of check in, as well as spend time socially. So we're not only focused on work. We're building relationships. We're getting to know each other a little bit better. Take advantage and drive those kinds of activities. And for partners, this was a really good conversation. We heard a little bit about genealogy societies versus heritage societies or preservation societies. These would be interesting groups to reach out to and partner with because there's overlap there, right? And maybe somebody has an interest in one of these other organizations in a project that we're doing, and you start actually being able to create committees, and you have kind of a diverse pool of people now that you can pull from. So look for those opportunities, and take advantage of networking situations, right? So if there's galas that are out there, or other things from these other organizations, put yourself out there a little bit and see if there's any way that you can kind of connect organizations or connect people. Did I miss anything, guys? Okay, great. Great conversation, table one. Are we doing questions, or am I just sitting down now?
Table 2, come on up. Table 2. Who's number 2?
Well, what I'm worried about is that we're going to overlap greatly, because she's my vice president and my marketing and chairman membership's back there. So
My vice president and president never agree on anything, so don't worry about it.
okay, well, what my group did, which was very kind, is they chose designing a new club, because basically that's what the three of us are in the process of doing right now. I'm a newly elected president. It's, we're defining it as stagnant and redesigning our society. So for the last 2 months, we have worked on, Miss Leanne over there has basically rewritten our bylaws. We've presented them as an amendment last night, and we'll vote on them next month. So we will see how everything goes. But basically, what we have worked on is everything on these 2 pages. Redefining committees, starting fresh, dividing up old tasks where one person has done everything for a long time, and we'll see how that goes. First, we started at our group with a vision statement, which I suddenly realized is different than a mission statement. And so Patty pointed out something that I thought was really great, to provide structure with spontaneity and flexibility. And I thought that was a good vision. Preserving history, educating, helping others. As far as our members are concerned, we want to expose members to new research. We want to share and learn. Sammy pointed out that maybe starting with new members, if you want to put them on a committee or something, start with something more simple, then throwing them into a more complex project, let them grow. Our social media group used in our little, we're in a rural county. Not everybody can even get internet. I barely do. And so we're an older group. And so we're not big on social media, although Leanne just set up Facebook. And it's going very, very well. We really don't have any remote members, as Cheryl does. Leanne is my program director, and she is starting a mentoring program once a month. Our outreach committee, as far as partners are concerned, we are trying to partner with our historical commission, our Rotary Club. We have a thing called the Bosque Collection, and it's a depository for all of Bosque history. The man that runs that is also head of the Main Street program. So we're trying to partner with them to get our name out there. Marketing is brand new for us. Miss Terry back there is going to be in touch with all the newspapers and libraries trying to market for us. Meetings, we're changing our meeting time to try to access a younger group from Thursdays at 1 o'clock to a Saturday when some working folks can come. And field trips, we're trying to have maybe 4 a year to see if we can do field trips. So basically, we're in the process of setting up a new group. And if y'all have any suggestions, they're more than welcome. Thank you.
I tried to tell my table that I don't really like getting up in front of people and speaking, and they said, well, now's a good time to start. So, and our table, they're a lot more knowledgeable than me, so what we've done is we have created the perfect genealogical society, and you are all welcome to join. Our vision statement is, since history and genealogy go hand in hand, the society will exist to educate our community on the history of the community and the people who live here. So our members, all of our members have different levels of diversity, ethnicity, none of us could say this word, ethnicity, there you go, skills, language. We're super organized. All of our committees have specific purposes. They're staffed with committed, optimistic, and knowledgeable volunteers. I said we have the perfect society. We've created it. We also have a research class for beginners. For our social media, we have technologically skilled people to run our social media. Our society also has an editor, we have a graphic artist, and we have skilled journalists. Our remote members, we have a committee that maintains regular personal contact through phone calls and correspondence with all of our remote members. Mentoring, we assign a mentor to each new member. We also coordinate beginners and advanced members to projects according to their skill level. We network with libraries and other historical and genealogical societies to obtain research materials and other resources. We also network with other groups and organizations and try to focus on young people to grow our organization. We combine history with genealogy in our program presentations because, after all, that is our vision statement. We visit repositories on a quarterly basis on field trips. We have a robust collection of research resources and a library that is very supportive of our society. So just come join us anytime.
Hello, I'm Susan Younger with the Dallas Genealogical Society, and we had a great group back on table 4, and we decided to design a new genealogy club. The vision statement basically starts with what any club would have: to collect, preserve, and publish the history and genealogy, and we chose to say it was for a geographic location as opposed to a surname or a topic-type genealogy club. And the whole key here is to become the expert for that location. And is this on? Okay. To be the expert so that if somebody wanted to know anything about Grand Prairie or Fort Worth, they would come to the Grand Prairie Genealogical Society and we'd be the expert. That club would be the expert. And it would also respond to the needs of any members or potential members at all levels through education, mentoring, geographical knowledge and awareness of family history, and more importantly, to contribute to the genealogical and historical knowledge database or knowledge base. So the members, societies would be responsible to both virtual members as well as those that show up in person. And it's important to make joining easy, and it's really important to be able to pay online. That seems to be an issue nowadays. And this club would provide meaningful projects that have relevance within the community. And I think the Table 1 talked a lot about the projects and how to go about doing that. We would include that and agree with you on that. Social media, everything. But we had a new idea here. John Wiley brought up the concept of boost. Now, I don't know how many, you're going to have to talk to John Wiley, but I'm going to try to explain it. It started with Facebook, and you could pay them to boost and enhance your Facebook page, your Facebook group for a price, but it would, you know what they're talking about? So it would actually enhance, and in searches it would bring your Facebook page to the top. And you can boost your society now online in a variety of ways. Google searches, things like that. So if you got questions, you either talk to John or Tony. But that's getting the profile, getting your organization, your online presence at a higher level and more people to see it. Okay, for remote members, Fort Worth is evidently doing this. They are taking live meetings and programs and airing them at satellite locations. So now you can have people showing up in person, but at 2 or 3 different locations perhaps. And I think this is done in other groups and everything. So you would have a meeting that would be at your main meeting site, then at perhaps satellite locations, a different library in a different location. You would archive those meetings for viewing on demand at a later time if a person couldn't come right at that time. Partnering is very important. Partner with other relevant organizations such as historical societies, neighborhood or cemetery organizations, ethnic groups. Look for groups like this that are beginning a project on their history and collaborate with them. Join your state Genealogical Society and FGS for organizational support. Marketing. Use social media with the traditional methods, but one of the ways to market too, we lumped making volunteering easy under the marketing. So that's one way of promoting your organization, but make sure your volunteering projects, it's easy to do. So it's not always the easiest thing to do. Meetings would be virtual, archived, in-person, remote locations. Field trips. We talked about publishing, since organizing a field trip, especially for a smaller group, is problematic. Why don't we do virtual field trips to a location that's in your area? So maybe to an archive, to a museum. You'd be advertising your area, and a person then could decide if they wanted to go in person to that museum, to the library, to the archives. So it'd be something the society would produce and publish, and get some advertisement for their organization, but it would also be advertising a local archive or library. So that's it.
Well, while Table 5 is finding their way up here, I just want to take this opportunity to introduce you to our host for this event. Stephanie Bennett she is the manager of the genealogy section up on the 8th floor, and is just a tremendous asset to work with, and we couldn't have a better relationship or a better person to work with. So thank you. And if you'd like to say a few words to us, we'd be happy to hear from you.
Hi, everybody. This is actually my first time attending this event, but I'm just so thrilled to see everybody out. It is wonderful to see so many people committed to preserving and protecting family history, and it's great to see everybody from in the area. And I was just saying to a group a couple weeks ago that I don't know where the library would be without the help of the Dallas Genealogical Society, and their help is so important to keep our library active and full of people, and we just could not do it without them. So I would say think about your libraries as you go back, and they are always looking for your support. Thank you.
Table 5 chose the design a new club as well, and I know by now practically everything's been said. It's kind of an unfair thing to do this, because the first thing on here, the vision statement, those take days and days and days to plan and rewrite. We came up with just kind of a generic quickie across the board: research, education, and preservation of genealogical and historical information. For members, we mentioned that we wanted local, remote, and members of all ages. We liked some ideas we'd heard today about calling new members, some sort of a personal touch, a phone call. We liked that welcome letter idea this morning, which also acknowledges that, yes, we did receive your check. Sort of a new member brochure letting them know what all they're going to get for their value of their dollar that they're giving. We also like the idea of doing a yearly survey to kind of get an interest level, what you're interested in, what your experience level is, and what your talents and what you're good at in an area you might care to volunteer at, or what you might be good at helping us with. And also special interest groups. I know Dallas has their DNA group, which I think is what everybody's wanting nowadays. So trying to find out what people are interested in special interest groups. Beginners, definitely training sessions and work sessions. Social media, all the things you all have mentioned. We also added Pinterest, because Pinterest has a lot of things about genealogy for the people that are artistic and talented and like to do kind of crafting kinds of things. There's a lot of ideas on that. That can bring a whole new segment of people in. And also YouTube. YouTube is a good, pretty easy place to deposit some of those videos you're talking about. Remote members, definitely emailing them, a place that they can view remotely the videos. We also mentioned and liked what someone said about being able to pay online. That's something that I think everybody's interested in, but it has a cost involved, and I know it takes a level of expertise, and some people are a little scared about anything involving credit cards and money. Mentoring, definitely we like the roundtable discussion idea or the one-on-one help sessions ideas. Partnering with your local libraries, your local historical societies, your local LDS family history centers, lineage societies. I think people leave out sometimes the DARs and the DRTs and all those groups, but they're definitely the ones interested in genealogy because they've got to do those papers. And as we talked about this morning, college students or groups like the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. Marketing through social media, through videos and websites, another way to get people to know what's going on in your society and involved, and a way for them to get involved. Meetings, we wanted quality speakers, but on a variety of topics, a variety of methodologies, and a variety of levels. Not all beginner, not all advanced, in between. Definitely would try to be able to video your meetings for later viewing. And field trips, of course, we're in the area for the local NARA, the National Archives, so of course, that's always a good place to go. Although it's not like the old days when there were 1 million microfilm readers, it's very limited on how many computer spaces there are, but the one good thing about NARA is that they do have Fold 3 free there. Virtual tours, we like that idea too, and museums, libraries.
Okay, number 6. 6? I don't want to force anybody to rush, but we are starting to crunch up on our speakers' time. So if we could have the other speakers just kind of ready to go. Thank you.
We wanted to talk about, since we were all interested about how to increase and maintain our membership. So that was our issue. Our goal was twofold: to attract new members, particularly youth, and the 30 to 50-year-olds, and to retain our current membership, because we're all having problems with that, or some of us are. So we decided to specifically talk about attracting new members. And actions to achieve those objectives would be advertising and communication through newspapers, all types of social media, beginning genealogy classes, anything and everything we could think of. Particularly for youth, we had touched on this some, but realizing that the short-term goal might not be getting a lot of members, but it would be planting seeds for the future. We talked about the writing contest, could be written or multimedia. Could be limited if it's 3 to 500 word essays, 3 to 5 minute videos. There would have to be something in it for the kids, like free membership, cash awards, things like that. Reaching out to public, private, homeschooled. 30 to 50-year-olds would be approach them through something like attending a lot of meetings, service organizations, fraternal organizations, churches, things like that, having informational booths, at different community events, art fairs, art festivals, our East Texas Fair, the State Fair, whatever, things like that. Resource, and I thought of something else too. Summer library, they're always looking for things for the youth. Do a workshop or something for the kids at your local library during the summers. Resources needed, we could recruit college kids and interns to help. And recruit volunteers within our organizations. It's going to take a lot of people helping to do anything, a lot of time and effort, not dumping too much on any one person, but getting as many people involved as you can. Partners, I think a lot of people have been saying the same thing. Community college interns, going to our local historical and our genealogical organizations, as well as family genealogical organizations, cemeteries, museums, etc. And so that's what we touched on initially for just a bare bones presentation.
Okay, I'm from Table 7. And we focused on an issue of aging membership. So our goal was to find and retain younger members. So we focused on a competition for students, either video or a written essay, and then assigning a mentor to any of the entrants that were interested, and beginning genealogy classes. So the resources we would need would be judges, prize money, monitor for the group, Facebook group, if we were going to do that, mentors, volunteers, teachers, curriculum, a location, and some rules for the contest. And to identify possible partners, we talked about middle school history teachers, librarians, scout troops, homeschool associations, junior college, local family history center, and historical society. So I think that's it.
One more table, right? Number 8? That's it? I thought we had 8 tables. Okay, my bad. Wow. Thank you all very much. I think that was really informative and a lot of fun to hear. So we're going to take a brief break now, be back here at 2:15, and we will pick up with our last session and hear our keynote speaker. Thank you.